Hey, what's up? JB Webb back on it once again, doing it to you, doing it with you. We venerate cool people all across the nation. We talk to talented people, and we also speak with activists. And we're terming this particular interview today as an activist. This guy has been in Orlando for over 20 years. He's really contributed a lot to the art scene, to the music scene. So he's an art and music activist. He's also a hell of a nice guy, and he's got a lot of cool stuff coming up before the end of the year. So let me introduce the legendary Frankie Messina, and welcome him to the call. How you doing, Frankie? Welcome, man.
I'm excellent, JB. How are you? Thanks for calling me. I appreciate your time. I really admire what you do, and this is an honor.
Hey, well, thank you, man. You're 4 times more what I've done. You've been doing this for a good number of years. You've been in Orlando, and just to get to the questions right away, what I guess I'm curious about the most is, the type of personality that you have, where you give and you give and you give and you do and you do and you do. I'm wondering where that kind of came from, as far as you. Was that inherent in a family way? Is that specific to you in a certain way, or where does your desire and where does that all come from to keep going and to keep pushing and bringing doing cool stuff in Orlando and creating places for people to show art and to play music? And the legendary ApartmentE was a digital magazine before anybody knew how to even get on the internet. So I guess that's my question, is kind of where, if you could share with us where that kind of comes from within you.
Well, I'm really better at having other people interviewed about ApartmentE than me talking about ApartmentE, because it's ever changing. But to answer your question, I guess I had this desire in me when I moved here in 1989. I was looking for the things that we've been talking about, the arts and the music, and I was living in New Orleans for a while, and I'm from Mississippi and Louisiana, which is just crazy with blues music and art shows and people on the street painting live. And I've always loved Orlando, and there's people that were here when I moved here that were doing these things in warehouses and out, which are still very much doing that. And there's a ever-changing amount of big folks that are in town. I call myself a father if I could do that about in Orlando arts, because there were people 10, 15, 20 years before me doing this stuff in town. Right. It's always been because of Disney moving here, letting people living here, and on their off time from Disney, they feel that creative spirit to go in and do something underground, do something a little to the left, to really bring out their art and their talents, the Imagineers and all, on their off time on the streets of Orlando. And as far as there wasn't a lot of venues to do it, and so I just kind of started gathered my friends together. I was living in an apartment that was actually ApartmentE. It could have been Apartment B or C. Right. And I chose that name because I just wanted people to remember, and for me to remember where I was at mentally in that state in Orlando. I was struggling with some money, living in a very small apartment. I was having so much trouble with my electricity, and I had some personal issues I was dealing with, honestly. And I pretty much just took hold and looked in the mirror and said, that was it. It's not falling any further. We've all got a gift to give. Yeah. I know people around me that are just wonderful and doing their thing, and people are waiting to press a CD, or they're waiting to write that book or get that book published. And I was like, what we're doing right now, we're losing minutes and days of creativity and actual things that's happening now that need to be shared. So I adopted this slogan called "All That Is Not Given Is Lost," which is pretty prominent, with what happens when someone very talented, leaves this earth or whatever, and you go like, well, if I never knew that person, or that person never did what he had to do, we would have never known it. So I think we're better for it. And in a nutshell, ApartmentE is really, started by me, but everyone has their own places in this world where they want to share and they want to do their things, and to have someone push them over the cliff to do it, that's kind of the role that I kind of took. And I'm still the same person I've ever been. And even after 20 years of doing ApartmentE, and there's some history behind it, there's still many folks, some of my best friends, still do not understand it, and I like it that way because it keeps it on the edge, and it keeps me trying harder, and letting them wonder, what is this thing that I just went to? And there's people with different memories of different parties all over the place that have made me very proud of what I've done. I've accomplished a lot with myself and my friends first, and the community's benefited from it. I think I've inspired a few people to do some things. I'm really happy about that.
I know you're an inspiration for me. You know, and to give you the much due praise, you really have been the grassroots organizer and community guy behind a lot of cool stuff here in Orlando, and you've got some cool stuff coming up as well, man. So I mean, just, you know, from me to you, and I'm sure whoever out there knows about what you've done here in Orlando, they're gonna go, yeah, that guy's he's put in the time, and he's still putting in the time.
I appreciate it, but I haven't been alone. I'm sorry to interrupt. I haven't been alone, and I've got many great friends, and just like I said, people that I've met, just homeless people and friends of mine, just that are out doing their thing every night, and just wanting someone to partner with them and to pair with them, or to just and with the resources that we all have, we just kind of got it together. You know, on a mic stand when we first started having parties. This girl's holding a mic one night for this other guy that showed up with his guitar singing. Yeah. And she started singing, and we got to know her, and she's started to form her own band from that. And it's just the connections that we have that we've done with nothing. It makes me really wonder and dream of what I could do with a lot. Yeah. As far as resources. And so I keep striving for those resources, and me and you talked, briefly about, future projects together. Yeah. I'm always, and everyone knows me, that I'm always, like, people say I want to do this, I'm like, okay, let's. Yeah. Like, okay, let's do it. Like, what's holding us back, So that's where I step in. I'm really happy, and I appreciate your...
oh, man. No problem.
I appreciate you calling me, because getting the word out to people, it's like, there's someone listening to us right now that needs to do their thing, and they think they have to have this professional CD made. Just get out to open mic and start singing. And there's someone in that room that's going to help you to get that recorded. There's incredible recording. Someone would do what you need done. It's just getting out in the public and letting it be known and letting your voice be heard. That's what I'm about.
Yeah, no doubt. And you started, and now you've given that kind of stage and that soapbox and that forum for people to speak out and express their art. Come on, get it out. Here's the place you can do it. You've got been working with St. Matthew's Tavern on Mills. Okay. You're bringing those bazaar. That was something from a while ago too, wasn't it? You used to do that a while ago, I think, too. But
I started that only about 6 years ago with that name, because that venue in particular has been a newcomer on the scene. The bar's been there for years, and the owner of the bar and the manager of the bar is an artist himself. Okay. And I met him like 5 years ago. He knew ApartmentE. Yeah. And I told him, so you know what, you worked so hard on these. He's hand painted the entire place, but it's like an open canvas, that if anyone knows me, like, give me a blank anything, it's going to get filled with something. Right. There's going to be a warehouse. There's going to be an art show. If there's a corner with a slight little level to it, it's going to be a stage. I mean, I'm going to add something to something besides people just walking around looking at each other. Right. There's going to be some action going on in that room. So that's what they've offered me to do Bazaar, and it's once a month, and I'm really having fun with it. We've got a lot of new plans for it too.
Okay, cool.
A lot of performers, artists, yes.
So you play vinyl out there. There's retro videos, independent short films, music concerts, live painting. So just so much of what's great about the Orlando art and music community is kind of all rolled up into one, and it's not necessarily a free for all, but structured chaos in a way. Maybe is a good way to say it.
It is a most, and I know that mostly what happens with people are getting to know people. They're meeting folks, they're networking. Right. They're getting to know people that they would not have known before, and the cross promotion, I think, is what ever happened with these multi-gatherings and multi-parties, because, you know, you get a band together, playing together. There's movement, but there's not a lot of movement. You got to cross the lines. You got to have artists, musicians, writers. You got to have people in there that just enjoy music. You have to have an audience. You can't just have a room full of performers. You have to have an audience that appreciates those performers. So I have a really good hello, and anyone that knows me knows that I'm a vinyl freak, and I've out of my vault of over 20,000 albums that I have.
God, dude.
I've collected. I go and grab an armload of them and bring them, and I will play anything from Willie Nelson to disco to techno to, you know, a Sesame Street soundtrack, you know, and I'm live, doing it live, and that's where I get my fun, is having people go and go, you know, what did you just play, and why did you just play it?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not the point. This is, you know, if you met that guy over there, did you go meet the singer over there? You know, like, quit talking to me and just listen to the music, you know. It's a good time.
Go mingle.
Perfect venue for that.
Yeah, don't question it. Don't question it. Just ride it out. Ride it out.
And just let it roll.
Yeah, just let it roll, buddy. So you got a lot of so you've been doing this for a long time, and I think whatever you can share with us, you got some cool stuff coming up in October, September, October maybe. I don't know what about that you can share with us. You told me, you know, because we talk off you know, mic, you know, time to time. But is there anything you could share with us about kind of what you got coming up and what you got cooking up in the works for before the end of the year?
Well, I started this thing called the 100 Guitars Project, where I was spotlighting local guitarists, you know, with or without bands, because Orlando is an incredible hotbed of music right now. There's a new scene of folks coming here. I went to a bar downtown around a year ago, and I was actually amazed on where these guys came from, where this, and I'm going to say younger because I am a little older, but the talent that's arrived in this town there's no other city that can compare to it, I don't believe. I mean, I would throw in Seattle, Austin, LA. I would do that because these guys are from Full Sail or Rollins River, but they're playing jazz. They're playing Steely Dan, you know, John Coltrane, Miles Davis jazz. That's blowing it away. And I'm not talking one or two bands. There's at least 10 or 12 in combination of bands. And there's people that work out at a PRK that are just amazing. You know, my favorite station in town.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's so diverse. And there's people that are playing music live every night in this town, along with my friends and all the names that we've known, the Dave Manns and the Anthony Coles and you know, Eugene Snowden and Bobby Coble and all these guys that have been in town forever playing, and these younger guys, and they've met. So there's an exciting night every night in this town somewhere live with venues that are world class.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking jazz, and I'm really proud to bring people to downtown Orlando, to Mills 50, to the Mills District.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Orlando. When people come in town, honestly, they're going out with me, and I work at Disney. They're not going to the parks. Believe me, they're going to be breathing hard, wondering where anything resembles a park.
Welcome to Orlando Underground. You are now passing the Milk District.
I call it Orlando Dew. It's like, you know, like Park
that's right.
You know, and it's a fun way that I could say that. You know, it's like Orlando Dew. You know, like it's the second city that we know about, that you're going to learn about. So that's the catchphrase I've been wanting to use. But anyway,
so
I'm talking a lot because you got me excited.
Yeah, well, so you're doing 100 guitars, 100. So tell me a little bit more about that project. Yeah.
Not on one night. My point was 100 guitars together. I've had this dream to have a concert with real musicians and orchestra style. Okay. Where there may be 100 guitar players playing, maybe a holiday concert, maybe not.
Wow.
You know, and get the wonderful saxophone players and the drummers we have, and the really the really great voices that we have in this town. You know, just to come in and throw down some classic tunes from the 40s or the 50s, and some of my. But it's just another way that I was getting like groups of people, like a poetry night. I collect the poets and a collaborative art show. I've got 50 like the bad art show that I did a couple years ago. You know, there were 92 artists got together with over 500 pieces of artwork for a thing called the Bad Art Show, and it was an amazing show out in Sanford, which I loved. And the biggest part of the night that people tell me were like, how'd you get this many people to believe in a thing called the Bad Art Show? and it wasn't really me making them believe it, to bring their artwork to a show called the Bad Art Show,
right.
Because I never told you the art was bad. I told you that the person running it is calling it a bad art show because it wasn't your typical jazz wine in the corner art show.
Right.
We had heavy metal playing. I had strobe lights playing on artwork. We had black lights on things. It was like you walked in as and all the different connotations of the word bad. And to see the artwork that showed up was just exciting because you didn't know what people thought bad was.
Right.
The confidence of that many people, the confidence of that many artists coming in and believing in ApartmentE projects that much to show up at a banner show. And there were 600 people go through the door.
Yeah.
It was one of the proudest nights I've ever had of doing something, finally just knowing that, this is great. And I don't know, I'm stumbling because I'm getting excited. But the word ApartmentE, to have a name that you believe in is something, and like the Orlando Weekly had last year, they've been doing a wonderful job. I have to throw in a plug to them if I can.
Yeah.
The Orlando Weekly's just been incredibly on top of this city. I mean, up and down through I've got a collection of every magazine probably that's ever been made from the Orlando Weekly and other periodicals in town. But the Orlando Weekly's been wonderful. There's websites that are great, and we know the things that you do, that all these little points in town, it's all about communication,
right.
Getting the word out there.
Right.
And so when they synthesize things in the Orlando Weekly, which I'm really happy to do. Nowadays, it used to be ApartmentE, a grassroots organization, or a description of ApartmentE.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was thinking, things are getting really sweet around here when they're just mentioning ApartmentE with nothing behind it.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of like it's become its own name where people go, I don't know what it is, I know it's about the art.
Yeah.
It's about music, or it's this guy doing this thing that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the goal that I was wanting to do, is just establish something that was my own, that I could share and have people kind of respect and know that it was an open door to come in and share the networking and the goodness of what ApartmentE is, with no pretense, without just the door's always open. Come in,
And that's the biggest reason why I wanted to hear a little bit more about you, because you as an individual, even outside of ApartmentE, like how to bring it. How to bring people together. Like, I think there was one Facebook post you did recently. There was like 700 comments on it, and all you do was like, what bars do you remember here in Orlando? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That was bars that have closed, the bars that are open, or venues that dies, and that was a trip. And in 3 hours, we did have about 400 comments, which
whatever. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, but
it made me realize how many places I've drank at in town. it was like it kind of scared me that I knew most of the names, and there are probably 400 names of
that have come and gone in 20 years. I mean, but people were commenting.
Spots at our coffee shops, spots at our bars. So it's kind of funny. Anyway. Great memories.
Well, I think that's a great point, though, that you still and you didn't really ask for, hey, everybody comment, so much, but you just put it out. You put it out there, and people gravitated toward it, which is exactly what Well, I want to commend you for just doing that with ApartmentE. I mean, that's probably a small case study of what you've done with ApartmentE, because at a larger scale, anybody who's come to Orlando, especially before the internet, let's say 5 or 6 years ago. The local magazines and word of mouth was basically king. So with you being in the ether for even 10 years before that, you got the stuff of legend going on over there. So I from our humble little effort here to what you're doing, man, we want to throw our weight behind what you're doing. We want to be supportive to any way we can, and we encourage people to get whoever wants to get behind ApartmentE. What's the best way for them to reach out to you or connect with you?
They can always just go to ApartmentE.com, which of course is
still the best way.
Pretty bad. Pretty. It's a WordPress site, but I've always keep that up to date. Our friend, Mr. Facebook, is there always because it's just so convenient right now. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I don't understand those yet. but I have reached myself to the computer, keeping up with up to date flyers, and there's a lot of information, and I kind of keep it very minimal and simple too. I've thought more of the past and the future because I'm really not ready to define a lot going on except for dates and come create new stuff with us. I've got a retail location going to open up in College Park.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm having a grand opening is going to be during the Jazz Festival, October 25th.
Oh, wow.
It's a very small retail shop where it's in consignment, and I'm going to have little concerts and little art shows out on the sidewalk there. And it's just a very casual spot.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
To put the name on a building is something that's been a dream of mine, and it's not. And I never really wanted to use the name ApartmentE, but I think I've arrived now where I'm happy with where it's been and where it's going to go. It's going to plant some roots into it, and I love it. I just love Orlando so much. I want everyone to come by the location, not really to buy something. I want them to come by, and if they haven't met me or met the people in the room at an event, to come do it. Yep. Or more important than that, give me a chance to meet them. Yeah. Because there's so many people that I do not know, and I want to know. I know their names. I have a lot, and it's just you can't get around. It's every night in the town there's 10 or 12 things that you could go to.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of I consider and let's you a name of 150 people that have contributed to it, and there's new names happening every year, every day, every week, and the city's basically built up around what we've done with ApartmentE, but there's been the city arts factory downtown, and the Terry Olson and Terry Humble and all the Todd cabinets with the word groups and the Carrick House, and just so many people I keep naming. Mark Bertelli with the Daily City. These are the people that have really made Orlando what it is, but they've also left the door open where they're not going, this is all there is. Patrick Green, of course. Green downtown is just incredible. Yeah. And with the main districts happening, everyone's connecting with their neighbors around them in each little spot. Everyone always told me, oh, Orlando's going to be like L.A. in 20 years. Well, because there are all these different sections and different spots, and we're just not connected yet. Well, those people need to understand that I believe the connections are getting there quicker than they think. Yeah. I mean, there's people going out, anyway, talking to us. So there's
you got Sunrail now, too.
Sunrail is incredible. And just to get that open later, where we can actually go to some events and not have to get back on at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we just get it from my house to downtown, and it'll be great. Yeah.
My one push for that, that's a very, very good point. Getting the parts of the city all the way out to Sanford and a long way out to Altamont. There's wonderful, wonderful people in every part of this town that are coming to the center, that are wanting it to make it happen. And it's here for the asking. People just need to get out and do it. And all the, spotlights or radars that I can send out to anyone with their podcast here to tell them, it's the time is now. It's go time.
Perfect.
Do not look for it. Don't look for it. It's there. But come help us do it better because we need everybody that's within earshot of my voice right now.
That's awesome.
We need everybody there right now.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Frankie. Hang on the line, man. We've been speaking with Frankie Messina, major art and music activist here in the beautiful city of Orlando. He's a humble guy, and we want to bestow the highest honor we can upon him. So we're giving him a local legend status as an interview, and I dropped that on him or else he never would have been able to talk to me. So go to ApartmentE.com, support the opening of the ApartmentE in College Park, the retail spot. This This is Organic Orlando. This is going to close out kind of the best of the underground here in Orlando. We've got about 10 episodes left before the series ends. So thank you so much for joining us. We want to thank ApartmentE.com. We're going to let you go this time. We'll be back with a few more great interviews. I'm JB Webb. Go to WJBWnetworks.com in case you want to find out what happened in the past. See you next time.
Are you serious? Come on, I'm trying to promote you. Okay, baby.